In the headlines, with Dominica under tropical storm warning, government shuts down schools before Kirk goes through the area on Thursday. Religious leaders sharpen their skills as first responders in times of disaster. And Creole Rendezvous to fill the void caused by the cancellation of Flo's Creole in the Park this year. I am Andrea Lee with the Channel 5 News. Back with the details after this.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001 275-5003 today.
Thank you for staying with us. First up, Dominica has been placed under tropical storm warning ahead of the arrival of Tropical Storm Kirk. That system, which had degenerated earlier this week, regained strength early Wednesday morning and became a tropical storm once more. As of the 5 p.m. update on Wednesday, Tropical Storm Kirk is moving towards the west-northwest at 18 miles per hour, and this motion is expected to continue over the next few days. Maximum sustained winds are near 60 miles per hour with higher gusts, and tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 115 miles from the center. According to Acting Senior Meteorological Officer Marshall Alexander, the center of Tropical Storm Kirk is expected to pass near the south of Dominica on Thursday.
I'm looking at the projected path of that system. We're seeing that the center of that system is expected to pass to the south of Dominica. Wow. Now, we would fall within the northern quadrant of that system, and this is the area where you have most of the activity. You have the heaviest showers and thunderstorm activity and the strongest winds. Yes. So we are expecting to be impacted by that system by tomorrow, with the center passing just south of us.
People in areas prone to flooding, landslides and falling rocks are asked to be vigilant and exercise extreme caution. In other top stories, a number of religious leaders here are equipping themselves to be better first responders in time of disaster. The participants were being trained in psychological and mental health first aid. Dave Loda is a public health specialist and a social worker at the acute psychiatric unit.
This training came about in the post-Erica era. After we had the disaster from Storm Erica, the Ministry of Health collaborated with PAHO, and PAHO is sponsoring this training. We have had several of these trainings with different groups of persons. The persons we have this time around, it's religious leaders. They are part of what we refer to as first responders to periods of crisis or when there's a disaster. They operate at the community level, and they are the first set of persons that would reach out to people who are in crisis. So when we talk psychological first aid and mental health first aid, we recognize that there's a need, a serious need for persons to understand the dynamics of crisis, the dynamics of people who are going through crisis, and to what extent they can reach out immediately to provide some form of relief and some sort of referral to the areas of need that the people who are suffering have. So here we are, religious leaders, very good partners in the area of mental health, and we believe that this training is timely, particularly during this season, and we know there's a storm on the way. These religious leaders are going to be part of the cadre of persons that we have trained to be effective first aiders in the areas of psychological help and mental health.
Originally, 40 religious leaders were targeted for this training and 18 responded. But Loda believes these leaders will make a difference with the training received over the 2-day period.
And PAHO is very willing to use its resources to fund these kinds of training. It is at the community grassroots level, when people are empowered, you get a better result in taking care of people in crisis. So this training is a 2-day training. Today we concentrate fully on psychological first aid, and tomorrow we deal with mental health first aid. And let me just mention, because it's religious leaders we have this time, it is going to be very important tomorrow, because there is a need to deal with a lot of myths and to debunk a lot of beliefs that people have within the church realm about mental illness. And we're hoping that the churches can become more aware of the issue of mental illness and so be of better assistance and help to those who suffer.
Meantime, Channel 5 News has been speaking with some of the participants of a 2-day workshop on psychological and mental health first aid. While they work in varying ministries and churches, their efforts boil down to one thing: helping people affected by disasters cope and referring them to professionals where necessary for the help they need.
What we have gone through today is some of the material, you know, some of it fresh. Some, like you said, it's like, just refreshing you on things that you have done already. But it sharpens you as well, given the hurricane we've just gone through. It sort of awakens in you the need for refreshers, the need for becoming more aware of your environment, of the people around you, and so that you can reach out to them. Because what we're going through, you're getting information as to, like, psychological, the mental health, first aid responders. So because of where you are, you can't just sit or go with the melee, with the rest, and say, well, somebody's going to take care of it. You're placed in a position where you've got to move forward and become active, become practical in the whole thing. And what we've gone through, we've had some simulation exercises this morning, and that has gone very well. So you're kind of thrown into the forum, thrown into it, and see how you respond to it. So that's been pretty good.
We'll be able to, first of all, we'll look at the situation, see what is going on, and, as I say, judge and then act. Okay? You say, for instance, we are hoping that at the end we'll be able to realize it's a sick person that we are dealing with. It's a crisis, yes, but we're hoping that after the training we'll be able to identify it's not only something spiritual, it could be more than that. You're handling with a sick person, and you'll receive the skill and be able to refer to the person to the professional, the psychologist. You say, yeah, you might be counselors, but you're not a professional. And then they give us the skills to be able to identify, no, that person needs a little more than what we are able to provide. And I think, well, we all know that already, but to be able to acquire the skills, so we'll be able to identify, at what stage the person we are working with or ministering with, what stage they are at. So it is looking, give us the skill how we should look at the situation, be able to judge the situation, and then act by referring to the person.
Pastor David Serra says the workshop is timely.
The information being given at the workshop is so useful on a daily basis as far as pastoral ministry is concerned. Just learning how to respond in times of crisis. It is called psychological first aid. Not being a counselor, but just simply going in there and see how we can respond to what is happening around you. From my personal experience this morning, we had this simulation exercise. And when I went in there, folks were groaning, screaming, crying like they were injured. And for a while I was just numb, didn't quite know what to do. Although it was kind of a make-believe, yet thinking of a real scenario, what do you do? And I think that it's an eye-opener for all of us as leaders to be able to know how to respond in a timely, in a way and manner that's going to help people and not destroy them. Because I think that so many times things happen and people rush in, but they do more harm than good. and knowing what to do, what to say, how to respond, I think is the key aim of the workshop this morning in helping us as leaders understand.
In other news, Member of Parliament for the La Plaine constituency says he is pleased with the reduction of tarpaulin-covered buildings in his constituency 1 year after Hurricane Maria. The east and southeast of the island were among the hardest hit by Hurricane Maria, and to date, significant progress has been made in restoring houses in that constituency.
I'm happy to report that we have made a tremendous progress as far as the housing stock is concerned. In fact, a visit to La Plaine will reveal that unlike the blue tapestry that was all over, that is the tarpaulins that were over these houses, today one can hardly identify blue tarpaulins in La Plaine, Delis, and Boudica. This was achieved through a collaborative effort, first of all, of the government of Dominica, where we invested millions of dollars. In fact, we are up to just about $4 million investment in redoing roofs. In addition to that, through the procurement of the building materials, we have given hundreds of individuals roofing materials to include zinc and lumber to redo their roofs.
Serja also commended the numerous international organizations who worked on repairing houses and roofs in his constituency.
And I speak here of Israel Aid, one of the first agencies that was on ground assisting us, and they have assisted in redoing scores of roofs in La Plaine, Delis, and Boudica. We also had the Red Cross doing, and they are still currently doing, a number of roofs in the area. And one organization that not much has been said about is the Baptist Foundation of Fellowship under the leadership of Pastor Mike Coop. He was able to get resources, to raise financial resources in the United States. And we have a very good partnership. They go out, they do the roofs, and in some cases, we provide families with the materials and they provide labor to ensure that these people are housed.
Minister for Climate Resilience, Honorable Joseph Isaac, has highlighted some of the challenges which senior citizens are faced with in times of disaster. Isaac was the featured speaker at the 23rd Annual General Meeting of the Dominica Council on Aging on Wednesday.
Loss of pets that we might take as a simple matter. Older persons usually have a close-knit relationship with their pets, and many of them may refuse to be evacuated, even in the face of imminent life-threatening danger, because usually pets cannot be evacuated with their owners. And again, simple things like that we take for granted can impact on their psychological state of mind during a disaster or potential threat of a disaster. Transportation. Many older persons are unable to evacuate during a disaster. Some are unable to drive or no longer own a car. Others live alone or in rural areas. Some of those residing in institutions like the infirmary are too frail to be evacuated quickly. Herein lies the issue of planning and effective planning. For example, during the threat of Tropical Storm Isaac, we actually paid buses to put in place to transport the elderly and the people who are not physically able so that they could be transported to the shelter. So all that the council need to incorporate those issues there in the planning process and to ensure that there is a seamless linkage between the council and the disaster committees and the villages. You have to be proactive and ensure that they do the job, rather than after we see a weakness, it might have a major devastating impact that we might regret. So we have to be proactive in the planning and ensure that it happens.
Older people living on fixed incomes also encounter challenges from limited resources.
Hurricane Maria is a case in point where many of our older persons did not have house insurance and are facing grave difficulty to renovate or rebuild their homes. And that is a realistic challenge that we are facing. But your government, and I specifically want to say that your Minister of Finance is really, he has a big heart, especially a soft heart towards the elderly and the less fortunate people. So, for example, I know my colleagues, and we even make jokes out of it, and he tells some of the colleagues, but you want to run out the country financial resources, because the requests come and come and come, but he never says no. He really tries his best to ensure that every constituency gets a fair share of the resources to help the vulnerable persons and the elderly and less fortunate.
The theme of Wednesday's AGM was Care of Older Persons During and After Disasters, Meeting the Challenge. You are watching the Channel 5 News. Stay tuned for more after the break.
Rudolf Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolf Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fence pipe. Check out Rudolf Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolf Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Welcome back. The artist lineup for the 2018 NCCU Cadence-Lypso show has been determined.
The names were drawn Tuesday night, indicating the order in which these artists will perform.
Number 1, Desmond Lawrence. Number 2, Chris Sylvester. Number 3, Shirley Charles. Number 4, Marissa Stedman. Number 5, we have Ramadin Philip. Number 6, Shamika Sorrendo. Number 7, Murphy John Jules. Number 8, Kasim Birmingham. Number 9, Charles Litham. Jude Deloney at number 10. And number 11, Anton Joseph.
Marissa Stedman is singing Mon Jaloux. Murphy John Jules, Winners Never Give Up. Shamika Sorrendo, One and Only. Jude Deloney, Nous Connais. Ramadin Philip, La Vie Adulte. Kasim Birmingham, La Vie Doux. Chris Sylvester, Chauffeur Boss. Desmond Lawrence, Dubout. Shirley Charles, Nous Besoin Vive. Charles Letham, Dominique I Love You. Anton Joseph, Still Striving. The NCCU Cadence-Lypso show also includes a band segment, and they'll be expected to perform as follows. Lucas Band, to be followed by Signal Band, First Serenade and Fanatic Band. The 2018 Cadence-Lypso show will be held on the 2nd of November.
Still on the entertainment scene, a new event has been created to replace Flo's Creole in the Park this year.
Last week Friday, leading telecommunication service provider Flo announced it would defer the staging of its signature Creole in the Park due to its commitment to rolling out fiber to the home and IPTV products in a timely manner. The CITP event normally runs during the week leading up to the World Creole Music Festival. Cultural Officer Ulson Matthew says the Ministry of Tourism and Culture has plans to fill the void of October 22 to 25 this year.
In an effort to seamlessly fill the void due to the absence of the annual Creole in the Park, the Ministry of Tourism and Culture proudly presents Creole Rendezvous. As the name suggests, this event will serve as an opportunity for locals and visitors alike to convene and celebrate various aspects of our culture, both traditional and contemporary. With the assistance of various strategic private sector partners, the 4-day event seeks to complement the flagship World Creole Music Festival as it reverts to the original vision of a daytime event that showcases exclusively local content and performances. The Ministry of Tourism and Culture and the Government of Dominica, by extension, would like to officially recognize and thank Flo for their unwavering contribution to the successful development of a daytime event that can now be looked upon as indispensable.
Matthew says local bands, artists and DJs will also be on display at Creole Rendezvous, which has a different theme every day to complement Dominica's Creole culture.
The event will adopt a familiar 4-day format with an assortment of daily themes in line with the Rediscover Dominica campaign. The event will provide a platform for local artists to showcase their talent, as well as an opportunity to share and preserve seemingly endangered traditions to a very large and diverse audience. So the daily themes are as follows. Day 1, Rediscover Fun. And that is a day dedicated to introducing school children to traditional toys and games. Day 2, Rediscover Mystery, and that's going to highlight oral traditions such as poetry, storytelling, folk music. Day 3, Rediscover Taste, and that's going to focus on the evolution of local cuisine. And Day 4, Rediscover Rhythm, and that is centered on traditional music, traditional dance, and creative dance as well.
Creole Rendezvous will be held at the Botanic Gardens from noon to 7 p.m. on October 22, 23, 24, and 25. Admission fee is $5.
And the Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce, DAIC, is this week taking a hands-on approach to restoring the business sector in the north of the island, weather permitting. This follows the withdrawal of Ross University from Portsmouth in August, which dealt a severe blow to the private sector there. Executive Director of the DAIC, Lizra Fabian, says the association will host a forum on Thursday with private sector entities in the north focused on partnering to optimize business opportunities with the Kempinski Hotel in Cabritz, Portsmouth.
From 9 to 11, DAIC will host this ex-Anisha's breakfast. The General Manager of Kempinski Hotel, Michael Schunwagon, will be our keynote speaker. The Bureau of Standards is also engaged to present at this event, where we get to understand the quality and the standards that we need to achieve as businesses to attract the right investment. So all business persons are invited, all forward-thinking individuals who really want to see or understand better what opportunities there are for them with doing business with Kempinski Hotel are invited. After this ex-Anisha's breakfast from 9 to 11, we'll be having an exclusive visit of the Kempinski Hotel. So we really invite businesses who want to be part of this entire process to turn up.
Fabian says Thursday's activity forms part of the DAIC's mandate to help the private sector around the island and not just in Roseau.
Yes, definitely. DAIC, we are seeking to create value, not just for businesses in Roseau, because it's not a Roseau chamber, it's a Dominica chamber. So we really want to provide more value to businesses in Portsmouth, and this is a prime opportunity where we can do so.
To end the news, the headlines again. With Dominica under tropical storm warning, government shuts down schools before Kirk goes through the area on Thursday. Religious leaders sharpen their skills as first responders in times of disaster. And Creole Rendezvous to fill the void caused by the cancellation of Flo's Creole in the Park this year. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access or pass the newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Louis, and to all of our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Join us next time.